What is the stupidest thing you've done just to show you could do it? Played that stupid fucking 5-finger fillet game with the compass back when I was in school. As I got more confidence I obviously got faster and inevitably the point went right into the side of my fingertip. Fucking idiot. I played that stupid game at scout camp. I stopped after one of the younger scouts got too cocky because he could go faster than us older guys and sliced about 1/2 inch into the webbing between his fingers. I can still see the blood. Ouch. I'll bet the kid learned a valuable lesson that day lol. Judging by other things he did afterwards. I doubt it. Well, you can't fix stupid. In grade school, maybe age 11 or 12, I had these cheap jeans. I figured out that I could flex my belly and pop the button open. Found this funny and guy friends in class, got a laugh too. One of them turns to a girl. Hey girl, check out what op can do. I flex my belly and let out a huge fart while the button popped open. She turned away. My buddy laughed. And I never did this trick again. Yeah. Something similar happened to me after a final in 8th grade. Me, my buddy and a girl across from us were done our tests, so we were doing dumb shit to pass the time. One example was holding our breath and making our faces turn red. In a dead silent classroom I let out a high-pitched fart, and I swear to God my soul left my body. It wasn't low and fast, so you could pass it off as a chair. No sir, everyone knew I just ripped ass. Gotta love it. When I was 6 I stapled my fingers because I had convinced all of my friends that I had iron hands. I was around that age too, and I was fiddling around with a stapler and stapled my pointer fingers together. It was the skin just next to the nail so it barely hurt. I went downstairs to tell my mom who was doing laundry that I stapled my fingers together. I still remember the look on her face to this day. Edit. Then again that was yesterday so of course I remember /s. You have great writing skills for a 6-year-old. I told my 6th grade friends I could just off a 2-story roof and not get hurt. Guess who only got a scraped knee that day? Not me. I broke my leg. Parkour people, on the other hand, can do a safety roll and be mostly unharmed aside from some mild pain. I wonder if they learned it from playing Ocarina of Time. Those people have knees of steel, and shoulders, and ankles, and elbows, and... As a kid I told my friends I could hold my breath for a long time. Long enough to pass out, in fact. And that's exactly what I proceeded to do. My friends and used to have those breathing contests in the pool, where you'd go underwater and see who could hold in their breath the longest. I'm a really competitive person so of course I won. I passed out in the pool when I was 9 doing this. The lifeguard was too busy flirting to care, and he thought I was faking it. Edit. Typo. Holy shit. Did you survive? No. F. Walked through the brush of archery line to get a football to prove it wasn't poison ivy. I did it. I got the football. It was poison ivy. I once did something similar, but it turns out I'm immune to poison ivy. The rest of my friends? Not so much. Fun fact. Poison ivy in humans is like chocolate for dogs. It only affects 40-60% of things. With chocolate for dogs, it affects enough of them to just avoid all dogs from all chocolate just to be safe. With poison ivy in humans, only a certain percent get the effects. However, just because you don't get the effects the first time, such as itchiness and rashes, you can easily get them the second or third, etc. You can handle poison ivy 20 times thinking you're immune. Then all of a sudden the 21st time hits you like a brick. Like chocolate for dogs. Even if you think you're okay, it's still best to just avoid. Like dogs and grapes. Just had to get my Dumbus Chihuahua/Shih Tzu stomach evacuated at an emergency vet. Then she came out black from the charcoal they tried to give her to soak up the toxins. You know, just in case she is in the percentage of dogs that a grape can kill. Came home and ran around with my other dogs like nothing ever happened. TLDR, grapes may, or may not be, poison to dogs and cats. Pick the odds, and may they forever be in your favor. Had a dog that ate dumb shit his whole life. Started out eating straight pins. Moved on to electronics, like remote controls and whatnot. My mother and brother would not stop leaving things where he could get them. I too was guilty of this. but they blamed the dog, whereas I blamed myself. Doesn't excuse it. I was a lazy idiot, so he continued this by eating M&Ms and other candies. The trash full of chicken bones. Bushels of grapes, both still with grapes or literally just the twigs. The bones from pork steaks. And honestly, who knows what else. He ended up being put down at around age 13 for some undiagnosed hip/leg problem that he'd had all his life, but no one could figure out what was until it deteriorated to the point where he couldn't stand on his own. None of that stuff he ate seemed to ever faze him, while it freaked us out every single time. I don't know what that dog was made out of, but I miss it and him. A buddy bet I couldn't finish the spiciest chicken sandwich at this joint, known for insanely spicy chicken, in under 30 minutes. I knew I fucked up when they gave me gloves to eat the sandwich, so the sauce couldn't touch my skin, and made me sign a waiver. Won the bet. But really I lost in the end. I've won. But at what cost? And it shot from out my under on a steaming river's flow, a cacophony of thunder, a crescendo from below. And it gushed in lumpy lotion as it rushed along the halls, an impurity of motion on the carpet, up the walls. And it rippled, and it rumbled, and it rode upon a wave, and it splattered, rolled and crumbled with an odor from the grave, and I flew before it madly on that night I can't forget, and it might have ended badly, but at least I won the bet. Final words have never been written about the dreaded hot snakes. Hot snakes. That's a new one I'm adding to the vocab. Jumped illegally over the China-Myanmar border and back again. Edit. Well, this blew up. This was in 2002. I was in China legally, in the town of Ruli, Yunnan province. Across a small stream and tooth and strings of barbed wire was the city of Musay, White Elephant City, Myanmar, which was closed to foreigners at the time. A group of opium addicts were smoking in the thick bushes growing near the border and invited me over for a chat. I saw no border guards were within line of sight of me, so I did. We had an interesting chat in a mixture of English and Chinese. Later I wandered into the closest narrow street lined with dilapidated white wooden buildings, with bearded men in sarongs wandering around. I bought a Burmese noodle dish. No alcohol available in that state. Then I hightailed it back to the same crossing spot and over. About 90 minutes after I first went over. Ruli, China is, or at least was, a lawless borderland, with all the vices that lawless border towns typically attract. My crossing was the least of the local authorities' worries. I wouldn't repeat it or recommend it to anyone, though. Lucky you're not rotting away in a nasty ass prison cell. Hey, they wouldn't let him rot away unless there was something fundamentally wrong with his organs. Won a donut eating contest. In 10 minutes I ate about 17 donuts. And seconds before the time was up, and I had all my thoughts set on having a hearty cleansing, puke a motherfucker who wasn't even taking part yelled that throwing up afterwards should disqualify you. Somebody counted that I took in a few days worth of calories. My appetite came back 2 days after. A motherfucker who wasn't even taking part yelled that throwing up afterwards should disqualify you. Ridiculous. You ate the most donuts in the allotted time frame. Everything after that doesn't matter. Yeah, it should only be if you throw up during the event are you disqualified. IDK. My son was in a pie eating contest a few years back, and he was neck and neck with the girl next to him about halfway through the pie before she threw it up on the table in front of her. Did that stop her though? Nope. She quickly ate her puke, finished the pie, and still took first place. Even typing this, I gagged at that memory. We all agreed though, she 100% deserved that win. This makes me wish I couldn't read. Thank you. Chugged way too much apple cider vinegar. Huge mistake. I regularly do apple cider vinegar shots. I get horrible heartburn. And tried every single fucking thing. Nothing helped. A few pages deep into Google and someone suggested ACV. At that point I had nothing left to lose. So down it went. Heartburn was gone 5 minutes later. Fucking amazing. Please do dilute with water before swallowing though. Undiluted ACV is hell on your tooth enamel and the lining of your esophagus. Shoved my pointer finger into my nose up to second knuckle. I then got a sinus infection. Who knew? My daughter did that to me when she was 2. Then she hooked her finger and pulled. Had a terrible blood nose, and for a few days, if I sneezed it would start back up. 0/10 would not recommend. I audibly gasped when I read this, and I wish I hadn't read it at all. I did it in the shower while washing my face in a hurry, accidentally jammed my pink pretty much as far as it would go up my nostril. It hurt like lightning, had just struck my face. Then a drop of blood, then another, then drip, drip, drip 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 drip. Pretty sure I brained my damage that day. I kinda did the same when cleaning my eardrum with a cotton swab. I was swinging around my arm with the swab and accidentally stabbed it right into my ear. And I swear to God that I impaled my brain with that thing. The pain was excruciating, and I still cringe to this day just thinking about it. Carrot carrot. Not me, but one of my former co-workers told us about the time he ate a tub of butter on a dare. He made it about halfway through and had to throw up. He said what came out was neon yellow. For the next month, the smell of butter made him gag, and when he perspired, he could still smell it. You'd think he'd learn, but he attempted the butter tub challenge a second time. This time, he paced himself and actually finished the whole thing. He said the fuck up though was eating it before having to catch a train. While he was waiting, his heart was racing, and he felt so amped up. He did push-ups and jumping jacks at Penn Station. I don't even like the stuff. But a dare's a dare. That's rich coming from a croissant. You have a problem with croissants? Cliff diving. Saw a old man do a front flip off a 40-foot cliff. I said if he can do it, so can I. I did the flip alright. Followed by a belly flop that Zeus could hear. Knocked the air out of me. But luckily people were floating nearby to save my dumbass. I bruised my ass by jumping off a similar height rock and landing in a seated position. How was that enema? Public enema fucking sucks. I fell water skiing one time and my father, being the kind man he is, pointed to the giant turd floating next to me and would not help me back in the boat while he laughed about it and I, as a 14-year-old boy, had just been ass fucked by a lake. I've literally never told anyone this, except the doctor at the hospital, but that happened to me too. I got thrown off a jet ski at 70 miles per hour and hit the water ass first, and then smacked my head, shit my pants, sprained my neck, had a concussion, and sprained a shoulder. 0/10 do not recommend. In 2001, my sister got me a Sony phone, a tiny little thing with a flip down front. She worked in a phone shop and got discount. On the box, it said the phone was waterproof and there were tiny rubber seals in places. I believed them. At the pub where I worked, this aspect came up in conversation. Some guy said the phone couldn't be waterproof, and that showerproof was probably more accurate. Remembering the box, I argued the point, and dropped my phone into a pint of beer in an effort to prove it. I was wrong. Brutal but well earned life lesson. OMG, my friend did something similar at a bar years ago. She had a case called Life Proof, and she swore it made her phone indestructible. So she picked it up, slammed it on the table, and shouted Life Proof. When she lifted it up, her entire screen was shattered. Yeah, mine just fizzled out and died. Wounded. Back to my old Nokia in those days. Nokia S will outlive us all. After a nuclear war, cockroaches that have evolved to use Nokia 3310s will take over the earth. When I was around 12, I was neglecting to flush my piss. Too busy playing Armored Core. So my dear mother brings me into the bathroom and tells me if I don't flush next time, she's going to dip my hands in the piss. I looked at her, made a hammer fist, smashed it in the toilet, covered myself in piss, only a little on her, thank God. I wasn't even a malicious child, just salivated at the opportunity to show I could withstand the punishment and was thus unafraid. I could imagine a little 12-year-old thinking he's badass dripping with piss and his mom completely terrified of his immense power. TBH, it's a proper power move. I'd be terrified too if my kid did it, even low-key admire the badassery. I stabbed my leg with a pencil in elementary school. I told people I couldn't really feel much pain, which, at the time, was true. There was a spot on my leg from the lead for years. Lol. I still have a piece of graphite in my left hand from getting stabbed with a pencil 33 years ago. Edit. All you mad lads with a piece in your fucking eyeballs. I'll write already. You win. I have a graphite pencil mark in my leg from grade 2. My lunch buddy stabbed me when I tried to kick him under the desk. I'm 54 years old. I had a part of a thorn get stuck in the top of my middle finger that I could never get out, but I could always see it underneath the layer of skin. I finally couldn't see it anymore about a year ago. Always wondered what my body did to it. I got a small shard of glass stuck in the palm of my hand when I was 4. We never got it out, but I assume my body pushed it out. There's a scar and what appears to be a freckle right where the glass was. That was 20 years ago. I used to work at a shitty movie theater. As it gets to midnight, all the employees hang out behind the concessions counter and shoot the shit, eat the popcorn before we have to throw it out, etc. One of them dared someone to do a butter shot, but like, the liquid butter for popcorn is way closer to straight oil, so an oil shot. I'm always a slut for attention, so I said pass it to me, and I downed it without letting myself think about the consequences. It tasted like liquid plastic, and I hated it, but everyone was howling and incredulous, and I felt cool for a whole minute. Shat my brains out the next morning. Worth it. Edit. Spelling edit 2. I wake up to an award. My first. What a thing to see on my day off. Thanks you awesome losers. I'd like to thank my impulsive nature and God, and also Jesus Ann. I too worked at a shitty movie theater. You have all of my respect. Movie theater crew. Though I worked at a drive-in, so maybe not quite the same. But it was a fuck ton of fun and a summer that I would live over and over if I could. I'm picturing a really good coming of age movie / book. Oh hell yeah. Matter of fact, I lost my virginity to a coworker that summer, so it's perfect. If you are new to Tattletale TV, please subscribe. I have new videos every day. Stay tuned right now for another